Ralph, I went ahead and I completed the maintenance out. Outside, I found a wire laying on the ground. I went ahead and strapped that up. I polished the outdoor unit, cleaned all the leaves out on the inside of the unit, checked the freon charge, tightened up all the electrical connections. No issues whatsoever on the outside. On the inside unit, I went through, changed, your UV bulbs were good. Everything's operating perfectly.
Right, because I was going to say that there's a note on the unit out there, but they were actually replaced last year.
Right.
And they're good for 2 years.
And those are 2-year bulbs, exactly. So on your next maintenance, we'll be able to go ahead and we'll address those bulbs, get those replaced, keep you on the regular maintenance on the
Yeah,
UV
good,
system.
because that's kind of an expensive item.
It is, and maintenance is important on those as well. Your air cleaner, went ahead and changed your air cleaner, so we've got a nice new filter in there,
good.
disinfected the coil, the insulation. Notice a little tear on the fiberglass in the insulation. I went ahead and adhesed that back down, taped it back on, so that won't become an issue in the future. Tightened all the electrical connections on the inside. But Ralph, there was one issue I found.
Okay.
When I was going through the system, you've got a 2-speed unit, meaning that fan motor will actually run at 2 different speeds. Well, first low speed was running perfect, no problem. But when I cycled it into high speed, the fan never changed. The compressor went to high speed, but the fan stayed in low speed. And what that's going to cause is it's going to cause the coil to run a lot colder, or even potentially freezing up. That relay is a concern, and that it could result in further issues.
Yep.
So that was really my only issue I found, was that relay wasn't switching that fan motor into high speed. Okay,
you're going to have to understand that technically I understood probably half of what you just said.
Sure.
Okay, but my question, I guess, that I would have on it is that you say that it's a 2-speed system. What does that mean to me? I mean, does that mean that I've been operating on only 1 speed since the last maintenance time, or?
You know, and that's hard to say. On the last maintenance, obviously everything we went through, the fan motor was ramping properly, ramping from the low speed going up to the high speed. Kind of like when you walk over and you turn a fan, you click that, click the fan, and it goes from a lower speed to a higher speed.
And what's the occasion that creates that need to go from a low to high and high to a low?
And this is the perfect thing about a 2-speed. Normally on an average day, 80, 85 degrees, like kind of the weather we're having right now, that unit will cycle and stay in low speed pretty much the entire day. Okay. Our units are actually sized to cool this home on a 95 degree day. Well, it's not 95 degrees all year round. So when it is cooler out, you're going to run a higher humidity, because it's just normal 1-speed units are cooling that house off really nice and fast and just bringing the temperature down. Well, that kind of sacrifices the humidity removal.
I have noticed that before, and now that you mention that, I've never had the occasion to bring it up, but I do notice at times a reading that says that it's humid, that it's high humid, and I've really never understood how to combat humidity issue.
And that may have been an issue with that relay not working properly. But when that relay is working properly, it'll stay in low speed when there's not a really high demand on the thermostat. Meaning, you got it at 72, because I know you like it cold. It goes up to 73. It just started warming up. And when it's at 73 degrees, it turns it into low speed. If it runs longer than 20 minutes, or it gets to almost 74 degrees, it'll then kick it into high speed. Well, really, that's only going to happen in the hottest part of the year.
And these speeds that you're talking about refer to the fan turning to blow the cold air in, or the unit working?
Both. They actually work together. So the indoor fan will run in low speed when it's only that 1 degree. The compressor will ramp itself down. It'll run in low speed when the thermostat says, hey, we're just not cutting it. We need to go ahead and we need to put more out. We need to ramp up to that higher speed. The fan ramps up, the outdoor compressor ramps up, everything goes into full speed. Well, right now, just the outdoor unit's doing that.
Okay, now
so the indoor unit isn't doing that. Well, what that means is the air going across that coil, which is getting colder because that compressor's really pushing now, it isn't taking all of that cooling that it should be off of that coil and redistributing it back into the home.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
It's causing you to consume more power. It could also lead to more damage to the unit in the future.
And that's the big concern for me.
And that's it. I mean, because the unit's not very old. I mean, it's in fairly decent condition. You're really trying to take care of it. So I noticed that.
Yeah.
So, I worked up 2 options really for you.
Okay.
That's an electronic motor that's on the inside of there, kind of like a little computer mounted on the
And we're talking about the unit in the garage.
In the garage.
Inside.
Exactly, yes, sir. So we did one repair, is just replacing what's wrong, which is just that relay.
Okay.
Then I did another option, and this is just to protect the equipment even further, because we're unsure why that failed. It's a switch. It could work one time, it could not work another.
Right, I understand.
But they're also susceptible to surges, power surges into the home. So what I did is I did one repair is just replacing that switch, and another repair is replacing that switch and putting a surge protector on that unit. That way we can completely protect it further than just doing what the problem that we have today.
Well, I have, I guess it's a double surge protection program, because my house has installed, I had installed is a whole home surge protection.
Sure. Now, was that through FP&L?
No, it was through Miranda.
Oh, so we got that whole house surge protection. And
Yes.
the surge protection we're talking about is solely actually made by the manufacturer of that motor. So it is designed for that motor alone. So if anything were to happen, it's going to be for the motor and the controls on the inside of the unit. So I've got two different ways we can go
Right.
about it.
Okay.
I know you have the surge protection for the whole house, but
Right.
that kind of has to encompass a wide range of everything that's in the home, where this is going to be designed just for that unit.
Okay.
So it's a little closer range. If
Are we, Donnie? Are we talking a big amount of money or whatever? Because here's my thing right now is that my mind automatically clicks to the fact that I invested in a whole house surge protection in order to ensure that it wasn't just the FPL lines, but it was.
Right.
It was any possibility of anything in my house being affected by
Sure.
surge, quote unquote. I still am a believer that in units and bigger units that you invest in, that the smaller surge protection can't hurt.
Sure, and that's kind of like having a surge protection for your home, but at your computer you still got a surge strip. Even though you've got one on the whole house, you've got one that's localized just for that equipment, and that's exactly what we're talking about here, Ralph. Is one that's just localized just for that air handler alone.
Well, then I guess we boil it down to what kind of money are we talking about?
What's the price we're talking about, right? And that's what I'm going to go over now. Now, Ralph, what we have is a straightforward pricing. Is how we operate, and you've worked with us in the past.
Yes.
Pretty much the price that we present is going to include the labor, the material, everything. Now, if for some reason I run into a problem installing that surge protection, it takes me an extra hour or 2 hours longer. I've got to run out and get a part, then come back and then finish the job. With most other companies, hey, that guy runs out, he hits 7-Eleven, he stops at the supply house, he eats his lunch. That's all on your dime. Well, with Miranda, once I present that price, that's it. The worry, the frustration, the watching the clock of what the guy's doing, is he working hard, all of that is just things that you don't have to worry about anymore.
Yeah, it does bring questions.
Right, exactly. And with the straightforward pricing, if it takes me longer, it's not going to cost you any extra, which saves you time, it saves you frustration. You know that we're going to be working as hard as we can, because ultimately as a company, we want to do right by you.
Okay, good.
And we've got this quoted for this amount, and this is what we're going to work to achieve to make sure that it meets that amount and that there are no extra costs to you. And that's where that straightforward pricing really comes into effect.
Okay, you hit my pocketbook, so let's just head home.
All right, so what we got here, I'm going to go right to the pricing book itself. All right, we're going to get right to our relay, and I'm going to flip this over on the back of the invoice so that we can work this up. Your relay alone was $187 for the relay. All right, and again, straightforward costs. It's labor, taxes, everything included in that.
There's no breakdown of individual
No breakdown, right.
items.
I'm not going to come to you later on and say, hey, it took me an extra 30 minutes. Hey, I had to use a wire or not. It's going to cost you X amount. That's the final cost. So what we quote is going to be the final cost you pay for it.
Yeah.
Now, if we do the surge protection, that localized surge protection for the unit at the same time, it's going to be $249. We're going to switch to that. So that localized surge protection is going to be $249. Now, when we do it at the same time, we're going to be able to give you a discount because we have the unit opened. It's more efficient for us at that point in time compared to coming back to your home, Ralph, reopening the unit back up, and then adding the surge protection. So the discount comes out to $40.
Can I stop your chain right here? Just
Sure.
Because my mind is still clicking back on that 187
Yes, sir.
on the book. I understand the whole philosophy of the single pricing.
Yes, sir.
You do a particular job and it costs X number of dollars.
Yep.
I think I understand that, but I'm afraid that probably a lot of people feel like that they need a breakdown of how much the parts cost and then how much the labor was, and I think that that can become very confusing to a whole lot of people. And since we're dealing with a very sensitive issue, probably the heart of the matter of your business is coming and what's it going to cost me?
Right,
I understand that, but I just wanted to throw into you that I can see where a lot of people may take issue with that, but in my dealings, I have found that that I don't have a problem with it. But and just for example, like it's clear to me that 187 would not be that clear, but the 249 is specifically identified as a surge protection unit that's going to go in there. So it's easier for me to understand that than it is to understand the 187.
Well,
but I do
right.
because I am I also am a member of your, what club is it that you call
our regular
where I pay a
maintenance
monthly,
program.
yes,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
pay a monthly rate. So I'm well aware of it. But I just wanted to throw that in.
Well, and like I said, in that 187, and I'll give you the breakdown of what that includes, which is going to be the relay, the two-speed relay that we're having the issue with right now, which also includes the full mechanical check to make sure that the motor is ramping from low to the high speed, the Freon charge to make sure everything's working out properly the way that it should, and that the unit's operating the way that it's originally designed from the manufacturer. You know, we could work it the other way, Ralph. It's like, let's say we were a time and material company. Normally how this situation would go is, all right, Ralph, that part's going to cost you $75.
Right.
Okay, part's going to be $75, but the labor's going to be probably, I'm going to give you a rough range, Ralph, because I'm not sure what I'm going to get into until I get into it. So, we're going to be probably 1 to 3 hours at a $75 an hour rate. So listen, our labor could be anywhere from $75 to $225 plus the material cost. So, Ralph, that's either going to work out to $150 for you, or it's going to work out to $375, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
leaves it very questionable.
And how does it make you feel, knowing that, where now you're
I
watching
still
your
don't,
clock?
right, correct. I still don't know where
And that's
I'm
where that
at.
straightforward pricing comes into play. Before we do anything, this is what it's going to cost, no matter if it runs into any obstacles, circumstances. That is going to be the cost of the job.
Well, it's sort of like the layperson, as the layperson, back to the 187. When you first say 187, the layperson's mind is clicking to the dollars. It's not really listening with the ears to what it is you say you get for 187. When you just recapped it and you said that for that 187, I think your words were you get A, you get B, you get C, you get D, and that's what you get for the 187.
Sure,
then
exactly.
then I understand that a little bit more. But I think that's kind of a disconnect when we're down to the nitty gritty of the money issue on these kind of things. So I do understand that, but I just wanted to interject that to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's where my mind was going. So go ahead.
Now, Ralph, as far as this goes, do you feel that this is going to be the best thing and best way to proceed with this is to go ahead and do the surge protection and the relay at the same time? And ultimately, whatever you feel is best for you in the home is either way we'd like to go. Either way, I'm going to be able to help you and get this taken care of.
Well, one thing is that you've given me options, and I appreciate the options because given any particular circumstance on any given day at any given time of the month, I may be a little more strapped for cash, than I am at another time. The flip side of that is, in dealing with me, I consider myself very proactive rather than reactive person.
And you can see that in your home. I mean, you have a fantastic home. You can tell the home's been maintenance and that you put a lot of work
and if I identify problems that I believe need to be addressed, then I like to address them as quickly as possible because they can only lead to something bigger. So with that given, the total that you're going to give me is what here?
Well, after the discount, we're going to be $397 total.
Okay, so we're right in under 400, and you can do everything that needs to be done.
Yes, sir. I have all the materials on the truck. Our trucks are completely stocked with thousands of different parts. That way, when we present that cost, we're going to be able to address your issue right there, get you taken care of, get the air conditioning back up and running, and also be able to give you a 2-year warranty on all of these repairs.
Oh, that's good to know also. Okay, Donnie, you got my blessing.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much.
Go right ahead.
I appreciate this. I'm going to go out there and get you all taken care of, get this unit back to the way that it should be operating. And again, after I do this, I'm going to do a full mechanical on the system again. Even though we've gone through and done the maintenance, I still want to make sure that the part I'm replacing, that everything is responding properly, and just working the way that the original manufacturer designed it to work.
Okay, great, young man. I appreciate that.
All right,
you go right about.
Thank you, Ralph.
Then I'll see you when you're done.
Okay, perfect.